The movie starts in 1979, 6 years before DNA testing was introduced. Beth and Cameron were driving on the road around Christmas, heading to Beth's mom's house. Beth was 9 months pregnant at the time, so she could have gone into labor any minute. They were both really happy. Suddenly, Cameron noticed in the rearview mirror that an ambulance was speeding straight toward them. Before they knew it, the ambulance was right on their bumper. Cameron thought it was going to crash into them, but instead, it swerved next to their car and forced them off the road, passing by. Quickly, they had a close call, so Cameron decided they wouldn't travel anymore and would stay at a motel instead. We decided to stop and spend the night. Then, in the morning, we'd continue on our journey. As soon as we reached the next town, we saw a motel and decided to stay there. The owner of the motel was saying nasty things about Beth right in front of Cameron, but Cameron didn't confront him and just ignored it. In return for this good behavior, Hank charged him for the baby in Beth's belly too. That means rent for 3 people. Cameron paid it without fuss because the next motel was miles away in the next town. After getting the room, they both sat by the swimming pool and chilled. Just then, a Russian couple showed up and kept staring at them. Beth tried to talk to them, but without saying a word, the lady dragged her husband away. Then they both just sat there and eventually fell asleep, and the night passed like that. During the night, Beth had a nightmare. She saw a little girl with some Roman numerals written behind her. Suddenly, those numbers filled up with blood, and the girl started crying. That's when Beth woke up. She keeps having this same nightmare over and over, and it scares her a lot because she's already had a miscarriage before. She's terrified it might happen again. She wouldn't be able to handle it. Cameron took her to the room, and after she fell asleep, he took the car to get some food. But all the restaurants were closed, so he didn't find anything. On his way back, the car wouldn't start because it had run out of fuel, so he left the car there and walked back. When he got back, he was shocked to find the door unlocked. When he opened it, he was stunned because Beth wasn't in the room. After searching the room thoroughly, he headed straight to Hang, who still hadn't. He was awake, but now the office had closed. Cameron searched all over the motel looking for Beth, but she wasn't anywhere to be found. Finally, he went back to his room and sat down, hoping Beth would come back. But inside he was getting more and more anxious. At 400, he called the police, and Officer Marvin showed up. Marvin started asking him all these strange questions that didn't make any sense. Cameron had to listen to everything. When Marvin called, Hank came out of the office, but he just said he didn't know anything. Cameron kept saying that Hank was behind Beth's disappearance. This wasn't the first time. He was ogling her in a nasty way. So Marvin said, "Based on what you're saying, I can't do anything because you don't have any proof, and I can't file a missing person report until at least 24 hours have passed. Just give me a photo of your wife. I'll see what I can do." Hearing all this, Cameron was freaking out, and when Cameron showed him Beth's photo, Hank started acting shady again. He snatched the photo right out of the cop's hand. That was it. Cameron couldn't hold back anymore. In response, he grabbed Hank by the neck, but the cop quickly took action, hitting Cameron on the head and knocking him out. Once he was out cold, we realized Hank definitely did something, and Marvin was in on it too. Cameron wasn't going to get any justice. He's really going to regret leaving his wife alone with that shady guy after noticing all the red flags. After that, we see Beth waking up in a warehouse, lying naked in a bathtub full of ice, with a C-section scar on her stomach. They literally cut open her belly and took her baby out. As soon as she realized this, she broke down crying because someone had tricked her and stolen her baby, the one she had been longing for all this time. Now, just imagine how someone must feel when their kidney is taken out without their knowledge. Only when they see the stitches or feel the pain do they realize that someone has sneakily stolen an organ from their body. The feeling of being cheated like that must be something else entirely. Losing money is one thing, but having something taken from inside your own body is a whole different level. That's why Beth— You can't just say you understand someone's pain. You don't. She was sleeping safely with her life partner, and when she woke up, she found herself in a terrible situation. She had no idea where she was, when or how she got there, or what had happened. Still, she gathered the courage to get out of the bathtub, and right there on a chair, there were clothes laid out for her. They had Roman numerals on them, number 608. She put on the clothes and stepped outside, only to see that there were many rooms like that, all with bathtubs inside. But besides her, the entire warehouse was empty. She ran out quickly, and then she found out that there were a bunch of big warehouses there. Beth tried to get out of that place but couldn't, because the whole area was surrounded by tall fencing, and the main gate was locked up. The spot was in a really remote, deserted area, far from any population, so yelling wouldn't do any good either. Beth thought she could dig a hole and crawl under the fence, but that didn't work either since the fence was buried deep into the ground. Finally, exhausted, she started to lose consciousness. Just then, 3 other mothers, just like her, showed up nearby. They were in the same situation too. Their kids were taken away too, and they had no answers either. Veronica was number 607, Ivy was 606, and Allison was 605. Veronica was a doctor herself, so she helped Beth a bit and told her that the 3 of them had just met each other. Allison hadn't said a single word since they met, and her name was found from the locket she wore around her neck. Beth says she's heard of places where kids get trafficked. But the main thing is, if the kidnappers only wanted the kids, then why bother stitching up their stomachs? Like, why save them? They could have just taken the babies out and left them to die, right? That's what's been bothering them the most, because maybe there's a bigger plan behind all this. The four of them were wondering what to do next. Then they heard another lady screaming. They went to check and found another mother counting her last breaths, just like them. Room 603. Someone had just cut open her stomach again, ripping the stitches to take something out from inside. And that's when, after investigating, they found out what the real issue was. He was really suspicious. At first he thought maybe the mother didn't have stitches on her stomach, but when Veronica took a closer look, she saw the stitches were there, they'd just been pulled out recently. Then he started thinking maybe she pulled them out herself. Who knows, maybe she'd lost her mind, but her hands weren't bloody at all, which made it clear she hadn't done it. Someone else was involved. They were just about to conclude that she was dead when suddenly she opened her eyes, seeing her alive. Veronica tried to save her, but it was too late. Before dying, she just said, "If you survive, please take care of my child. It's blue." After saying that, she passed away, making things even harder for the four of them. But what is this blue? How can a child be blue? And why wouldn't we survive? Will the same thing happen to us that happened to her? There were so many questions, but not a single answer. First, they took that mother outside and covered her with dry wood. Then Ivy said, "Our kids are gone, so we need to get out of here as soon as possible." But Beth made it clear she wasn't leaving without her child. No matter how much she had to search every corner of the place, she wasn't going anywhere without seeing him, even if it meant risking her life or whatever. Brownica and Allison went with her, so Ivy had no choice but to come along too. The four of them reached warehouse number 2, where Ivy and Allison went upstairs to check, while Beth and Veronica started looking around downstairs. That's when we saw the same Russian couple sitting comfortably, watching all of them through the cameras. Veronica and Beth ended up in a room filled with tons of photos. It was either kids or couples, where the women were pregnant. That's how they found out that many women had already been trapped here before. We had already figured this out from the size tags on their clothes. To be exact, 608 mothers have been caught here so far. 608 children have been stolen. That alone shows how big this racket is and who all are involved. Just like the doll's severed head lying in this room, the same was found in the motel's swimming pool, and there were 2 dolls in a photo with a couple there. So, that was there before too. The dolls must have stopped at the motel. Someone there was probably keeping an eye on them, maybe even taking their photos. Then, as soon as they got the chance, they must have grabbed the girl and brought her here. That's why one doll's head is there and the other is here. Details for those paying attention. Anyway, Veronica Bath also tells that Ivy was abused, which is why she got pregnant. And maybe that's why she's not too worried about losing the baby, because she was already thinking about aborting. But we can see that Ivy is traumatized. She just puts on a tough front. So Ivy found a camera there, actually. There were several cameras, probably used to take photos of couples. He took a photo of Allison with one of the cameras and then put that camera around Allison's neck. After that, for some reason, they got separated. Right then, someone attacked Allison with a scalpel. By the time the other 3 heard her scream and reached her, it was already too late. Allison was dead, and her stomach had been cut open again. From what we saw, the one who did this was also a mother. Number 604, the number missing from all of this, was the key. These were the ones. A woman in the middle is killing them one by one. We'll have to cut open their stomachs again to find out if she's gone crazy, or if there's another reason. But we also noticed that the Russian couple watching all this had files on each of them. They'd already marked one file with a clip, the one for number 603. Now they're going to mark Allison's file too, since she's dead. When Vanika looked closely, she found a green tag inside Allison's stomach. That means her stomach was cut open for that tag, just like number 603's. Allison also had a camera with her. She even took a photo of the person in room 604 who pulled off this stunt. Looking at the photo, Veronica finally put 2 and 2 together and figured out that the writing on our clothes wasn't just Roman numerals. It was all in one line. 63, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 6 mothers. Hearing this, Bath remembered a dream where Roman numerals stained with blood appeared behind the girl. The 3 of them moved forward and found a room where their children were kept. All 6 kids were lying there, locked in cages, and each child had a tag tied to their foot. Every single tag, the color was different. So now you must have understood the whole situation. A tag is attached to a kid's foot, and the same color tag is placed inside that kid's mother's womb. That's why 603 said, "My baby is blue," because 604 had just pulled out a blue tag from her belly right in front of her. That's how she found out. This means 604 is also checking other mothers' bellies to find her own baby, since she won't cut open her own. She looks at all the tags inside the others' bellies, and the one color tag that's missing must be her baby's, so she'll take that baby away. In other words, that Russian couple somehow set up a sick game that they're just sitting and enjoying. They have tags in their stomachs meant to save them, but actually, those tags are there to kill them at each other's hands. By looking at the blue tag, they found out about kid 603, and from the green tag, they identified Allison's kids violet, yellow, orange, and red. If you want to find your own kid, you have to cut open your stomach. But if you do that, you'll die from blood loss. So what to do? Veronica said that where she woke up, there was a lab nearby where there was some medical stuff lying around. Using that, I could safely operate and take out our tags. The idea was good, so both of us went with him. Meanwhile, Marvin was driving Cameron out of town in his car, and Cameron was just waiting for the right moment. When he saw his chance, Cameron pulled out Marvin's gun and pointed it at him. First, he crashed the car into the side. Then, after unlocking his own handcuffs, he used those same cuffs to tie Marvin to a pole and threw the keys far away, right in front of him. After that, he took Marvin's car and went back to the motel, where Hank was chilling with Beth's photo. He was sleeping with her. Cameron broke his nose straight away and asked where Beth was. He said that sometimes he gets a call from a lady who asks if there's any pregnant woman at his hotel. If there is, he tells her, then she takes that pregnant woman to an old slaughterhouse on the outskirts of town. As soon as Cameron found this out, he grabbed Beth's photo and rushed out. He was almost at the warehouses when, in his hurry, he didn't notice the big spikes laid out on the way. He floored the car over the spikes, which caused a brutal crash, and Cameron died before he could even reach Beth. He came so close, but still couldn't save her. Meanwhile, the three of them were heading to the lab. On the way, they ran into two startled dogs fighting over a dead rat. Seeing fresh meat, the three of them chased after the dogs, and in the chaos, Ivy got separated from the other two while trying to escape. She somehow managed to hide and get away from the dogs, but couldn't escape 6204. It killed Ivy too, and now the Russian couple had taken out all three files. There were only three left. Meanwhile, Beth and Veronica had fallen into a pit while trying to avoid a dog. Beth woke up in the middle of the night from a bad dream, and right there, Beth told Veronica that she had seen this place before in a dream. The Roman numerals, the child, the blood, the chaos, everything. 2 years ago, I had a miscarriage. Since then, I keep having this dream. Anyway, with Veronica's help, Beth got out of the pit, but Veronica couldn't get out because she was badly hurt. So Beth started wandering around to find some help, and while wandering, she reached an old cabin where there was a photo of a lady kept inside. Beth was just staring at it when a man showed up carrying Ivy's dead body. He had the keys to the main gate, and maybe the kids' cages too. When he saw her, Beth hid, but he still spotted her. Luckily, he was a bit slow-witted, so Beth got away. He told her his name was Duncan, and that his mom was Mrs. Shepard. The woman in the photo, he said, "Mom's gonna be mad when she sees you," but Beth managed to keep him talking somehow. She told him he was her friend. She made it. But just as it was time to grab the keys, he took off running. Beth barely managed to chase him down, caught him, and snatched the keys away. Then she grabbed two cages and headed back to Veronica, using the cages to get her out. She also told her that Ivy had died. Veronica was badly hurt, so they both ended up sitting in the cab of an old truck where Beth was patching her up. But then, number 6004 showed up. There were a bunch of old vehicles parked there, and out of them, one truck was pushed right towards the two of them. So at the last moment, Beth took Veronica outside. Otherwise, both of them would have gotten crushed. She quickly ran to the lab where Veronica started performing her own operation. But then 6004 showed up and cut off the power, which stopped the operation. When Beth went to turn the power back on, 6004 came inside and attacked Veronica, shoved his hand into her stomach, and pulled out a yellow tag. Just then, Beth rushed in and fought him, and as a result, a rod went right through 6004. Beth thought she could save Veronica, but by then there was already too much blood, which caused her. She gave up right there in her hands. By then, 6004 Rad had escaped from there, but Beth tracked her down through the blood trail. She was about to die anyway, so she pulled out her tag. She was going to throw it down the drain hole without showing it. If she did that, Beth would have to cut her open to find her baby. That's why Beth was stopping her. She stopped and even agreed to give Beth the tag. But in return, she made Beth promise that if her baby survived, Beth would take the child with her too. She will go. At least Beth made that promise. Just before dying, she revealed one more thing, that a lady showed me all the kids and said if I wanted to keep any of them as my own, I'd have to kill the other 5 moms and remove the tags from their stomachs. Only then would I find out which one was my child. As proof, she even gave a photo showing the tag being implanted inside. Seeing that photo, Beth realized that lady was none other than Miss Shepard Duncan's mom. She's the one behind this whole mess. She's the one who turned 6004 into the enemy of all these people. Otherwise, Veronica would have been fine. She could pull out the tags from everyone. In just a short while, 604 also gave up, and her tag was red. Only Violet was left. That is, Beth's kid with the violet tag. Meanwhile, all the files were crossed off except Beth's. Now Beth had the keys and the answer, so she quickly ran to get the kids. But when she got there, the kids weren't there at all. Someone had taken them. That meant the kids were never meant to be reunited with them. The whole game had a different purpose. Before Beth could figure it out, someone came and knocked her out. Then they put her into a truck ambulance and took her away. Marvin and Hank were about to take her somewhere else. When she came to, she found herself chained to the floor, and right in front of her, Shepard was signing papers with that Russian couple. After signing, she handed Beth's baby over to them, and Beth was crying, watching the whole thing. They were taking her baby right in front of her. But before leaving, They were going to shoot her so she could never come after her baby. Before killing Beth, Miss Shepard explained the whole situation to her. The thing is, Miss Shepard runs a baby adoption agency, nothing more. Rich clients who are ready to pay a fortune, but in return, they carefully screen the baby, and to check the baby, they first scrutinize the mother. To reassure these clients, Miss Shepard runs this game where 6 mothers compete, and the one who survives till the end has her baby adopted. If she fights and survives, it's believed her baby is top quality. This is their adoption process, where mothers are also handpicked from the best in their fields. Like that. Veronica was a doctor. Number 604 was definitely some athlete. Allison was super intelligent, and IVF must have had some advantage too. That's how they pick mothers and kidnap them. Then the babies are taken out, and they're set against each other. Now you might wonder, what's so special about Beth? Actually, sometimes mistakes happen. Sometimes the mother dies while the baby is being taken out. But the clients pay to watch 6 mothers. So at the last minute, someone always has to step in and fix things. Beth is that last-minute replacement, and the first replacement too. Out of 6 kids taken, 1 mother died. When they were taking her body in the ambulance, Beth showed up on the way. That's when they started trapping her right there. First, they forced her off the road and convinced her to stay in town. Then they showed her to some clients. The clients agreed, and then she was kidnapped. After that, everything we saw in the game happened. The client got the top mom's child, and the rest of the kids will end up somewhere else. For now, he was in a hurry and was about to kill Beth when... But Duncan showed up with a gun and wasn't listening to his mom at all. Miss Shepard's whole marketing scheme is a total scam. The proof of that is her own son, Duncan, judging a kid's worth by how his mom looks. Duncan had the gun pointed at the client and his mom couldn't do anything about it. So the client shot Duncan, and in return, Duncan fired back, killing both husband and wife. As he was dying, Duncan reminded Beth that the keys were with him. The keys were hanging around Beth's neck, so she used them to free herself. She grabbed a gun and set off to get her daughter back. She found the girl, but along with that, Miss Shepard hit her with a huge shock. She told her the truth about herself. She told Beth that she was adopted right from here. Roger and Jody aren't your real parents. In fact, your real mom was killed, and that's how they took you away from here. Your mom had won the game too, just like you did. That's why you were adopted. And it's quite a coincidence that you also became part of this process and won, just like your mom. To prove it, she showed Beth her mom's file. The number is 28, the same number Beth sees in her dream behind the little girl. So, that girl is actually herself. Just from the number, you can guess how much this business has grown in just a few years. Where it was 28, now it's 608. After finding out the whole truth, Beth stabbed Miss Shepard's stomach with the keys to see what it felt like. After killing her, she took her daughter and left. The state police came to get her and gave Beth Cameron's purse, and when she saw it, she couldn't stop crying. Some time after that, her real mother, she tracked them down and reached their grave, and by some stroke of luck, she found her real dad there. The lost family was reunited, and just like that, the movie ended. Miss Shape probably never imagined that the girl she was selling would one day destroy her whole racket. Beth not only saved her daughter, but also avenged her mom, and for that, Beth was the chosen one. During her 9-month pregnancy, on Christmas, she was on her way to her mom's house, though that woman wasn't really her mom. On the way, the racket guys spotted her, so she ended up at that warehouse and became part of the same game her mom was involved in. She had been there before, and through that same game, her future was shaped, which led her back into the game where she ended it once and for all. Miss Shepard thought Beth was lucky for her, showing up at the last moment as a replacement. She fit in perfectly, but actually Beth was the unluckiest for her. Then she had a dream. It was telling her who she was and what she would do. Every single detail in this movie is carefully thought out. Every twist, every reveal, all the secrets that come to light, the doubts that arise, and even right up to the very end. The story keeps flipping, and even with all the twists, this movie is amazing and seriously underrated. It's inspired by real child abduction cases, and they put a lot of thought into adding so much detail. Now, let's talk about some interesting facts about the movie. Cameron, played by Andy Whitfield, has a very small role because he was diagnosed with cancer around that time. That's why Cameron's character is killed off halfway through the movie in a car accident, because Andy was going through a lot of pain. It was their last film. They passed away in 2011. In June 2010, they were declared cancer-free, but when checked again in September, the cancer had come back. Then, a year later, they died. There's also a documentary about this called Be Here Now. Beth, or Tabret Bethel, and Andy are known for the TV shows Legend of the Seeker and Spartacus, Blood and Sand, which were produced by Sam Raimi. This movie features Tabret Bethel's first nude scene in her career, where she wakes up on the bottom. It's the second Australian movie called The Clinic. The first one was back in 1982. I came across this. This movie got really bad reviews, so these were some unheard facts. Hope you liked it. If you did, please like the video and comment to tell me what you thought of the movie. Was it impressive or not? People have been asking for big videos daily, so here you go. Let me know how you liked it, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. Also follow me on Instagram if you haven't. I'll see you soon with the next video. Till then, bye everyone.